Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. My name is Jared Budlong. I'm running as an independent candidate for governor here in Alabama. TikTok, you're here too. Today is Saturday. It is a little after 9 o'clock, and today is our strategy meeting. So we're going to talk campaign strategy, what we've been doing, what we plan on doing. This one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to cover the last month because we're now at the beginning of a new month, so we'll cover that and take a look at what we've been doing online and what has been working, what hasn't maybe, and then make some plans for October because we are in the final stretch, as it were. So let's jump in real quick. If I can get confirmation in the chat, picture and sound looks good. Perfect. Glad to hear that. Let's pull up this guy here, and we are going to swap out our dates. Give me 1 second, and I will share the screen on these profiles. TikTok, you won't be able to see what I'm doing because TikTok doesn't like me to do that. All right. We are on September. Cool. So I'll share screen and we will get going. We're going to share this tab right there. I think I will unpin that, get us full screen, and we'll do something like that. Okay, so we're gonna start off with TikTok. Biggest video, definitely our videos talking about the incarcerated individuals that are being malnourished. That's what we're currently focused on. The prison system in Alabama is atrocious. If you're not familiar, we are currently our incarcerated individuals, a lot of them are on strike, not giving up their labor for free to kind of hit the state in its pockets where they tend to listen. So that's where we're at. Those videos usually do well. This one definitely did in September. So we're going to keep talking about the prison system because it's different. There's a difference between now and when I first started running. So it's going to be a larger focus because they're getting national attention to the situation that's going on right now. And a lot of my focus is going to be keeping up with that. And before I forget, October 14th, there's actually another protest that's going to be planned or is being planned for support, solidarity for those individuals as well. And that'll be in Montgomery again in front of the Alabama Department of Corrections. So if you can make plans now, October 14th, it's only 2 weeks away. All right. So it looks like over the course of the month, Wednesday's still kind of a low day for us on people being online. So if we want to take advantage of that, the followers, at least on TikTok, they're lower on Wednesdays. So if we want to get a new audience, Wednesday's still looking like a good day for us. That could be because that's not when we're live. So that still could be correlative, but we can give it a shot. What I find interesting, though, is our live stream from the 26th, when I was live, doesn't show up in the data for TikTok. So I went live at least twice while I was at the protest, and that it's showing zeros for the 26th, which is interesting. But it does show the 25th. Am I mixing up my dates, Taylor? It was the 26th that I was in.
It was the 26th. And I know because I logged on a couple of times.
Yeah, I know. No, I know I was live. I was making sure I mix up the date because it's showing zeros. There's no data for that day. I don't think you guys can read it from there, but this is the 26th and it's showing as a 0, which I know is not true. We went live a couple times on TikTok, so I don't know what's going on with their data. We can only use what we have, so we'll go from there. Everything else is going pretty well. There was a pretty good spike on people who commented versus likes. It's interesting that we got more likes than we did, more comments than we did likes on one of those days, at least as a ratio, right? And that was September 9th. I'm curious what video that was, because it wasn't that one. Let's see if we sort by date real quick. Let's go to the second page. No, that's just the that's just the day stuff was happening. It wasn't one video in particular. That's interesting. Okay, so something about the 9th. People were commenting a lot more than they were liking in ratio, at least. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna move along to Twitter and just see what's been happening the last month, and see what's worked well and what hasn't. Again, Castillo Vaughn, his video, the video about Castillo and Cassie's plea for help, definitely one of the biggest ones. Second biggest, still Baymanet with OJ French, and then after that, I don't think this one is actually any content. I think it's just a regular old tweet. Yeah, it was a reply to another. Well, here you go. I replied back to this post and just said, yeah, I mean, it's profit motive, so that's what's going on. But that was the 3 highest from Twitter, at least last month. So on impressions, the ones that we're seeing the most. Let's see, of the videos, let's see if there's a higher watch through rate on any of them, because that's usually helpful. Let's see, so OJ's had a lot higher 100% watch through, but as a ratio, it looks like my clip from OBS had a more even playthrough amount, right? So if you look at the first one on OJ, there's a lot more people watched the first 25% and then stopped. And for the interview with Kenneth, it's looks like a lot more even playthrough, a steady drop off instead of a quick drop off after the first 25%. I would be curious what 25% of that video is, like where that cutoff is. All right, so we're going to do something we don't normally do live on the show, but we're going to give it a shot. The show, the meetings, whatever. We're on camera. Let's do 25% of that 2 minutes. So if we go somewhere about a quarter of
2019 to the city of Baymanet. Why was he transferred here in 2019 to the city of Baymanet? We want to know if the officers had any kind of formal training on how to deal with people with certain mental illnesses. We want to know if we want to see the body cam footage. We want to know the officer's name.
Yeah, it was right after the immediate request. So I don't know if you guys could hear that on your end, but it was right after the immediate request of like, hey, here's what we want to know. They want to know this, this, and this, and it looks like when people started dropping off. So the ask was made. The rest of it was extra info. So that kind of makes sense why people dropped off. That'll work. Nothing really concerning there. Although this one got a lot more. Cool, I'll take that. It was short and sweet. It's a lot easier to watch the whole percent. It was only like a 10-second video, so that makes a whole lot of sense there. And yeah, the rest of it's pretty straightforward. So cool. The ones on Twitter, the short, quick ones, tend to do better. So we'll keep considering to do those on Twitter and not post the 3-minute videos that don't do very well. Cool. Chard, I mean, I'm not a huge Biden advocate, so if you've paid attention to my campaign at all, I don't like either party. People in them I'm cool with, but not the party specifically.
But I do think we need to acknowledge that Jared is not against Biden just for the sake of being against Biden.
Oh, yeah, no. It's the fact that he doesn't do what he says he's going to do.
Like, I mean, a lot of people are, staunchly pro-Trump, and they're anti-Biden just to be anti-Biden. So right. I think, being critical of a politician is fine.
Yeah, you should be critical of me and the things that I say. It's fine.
You should absolutely be critical of a politician, and Biden works for us, and we have to realize that. But we cannot just be against Biden for the sake of being against Biden.
Right.
Because he's not Trump. Like, I just want to put that out there.
Yep. Agreed. All right, so there was a spike in profile views on the campaign Twitter, or the citizens account for Twitter, the volunteer account. A lot more than normal. I'm curious what that post is, because that has people not just reactionary, like clicking like or retweet. They're actually checking out details. And okay, it was the post. It was actually the post announcing me speaking at the event again. So it was a big graphic showing that I was going to be speaking at the rally on the 26th. Cool. So I don't know if that was literally just the graphic, or if it was the fact that it was at the rally, the fact that it says I'm the guest speaker. I'm not sure what it is. There's something about that post specifically that resonated well. It wasn't a reply to an existing tweet or anything like that. So something got people's attention enough to them to click through and actually look at the profile, which is not a normal behavior, but it does shows interest. So we definitely want to keep trying to do that as much as we can. That shows that interest, which is good. Same thing. Yeah, there's definitely a spike of interactions overall, not just profile views, on that same day. So that tweet got some attention. So social team, keep that up. Let me check my comments and make sure I'm not
Joe,
overlooking
Amanda,
anybody.
and Paula, and social media team. Woo!
Yeah, keep it up. Doing great. Cool. So let's do that. All right. Let's get back to our details here. Okay, cool. Twitch is pretty straightforward. This is just a record of the live stream, but I am kind of curious if there were any spikes in. Yeah, so there's some that are a little higher than others. So the 13th, what day of the week is that? The 13th was a Tuesday, so it's a policy meeting. The 10th would have been the Saturday before. I wonder what had people watching less on the 17th. What was that? That was a Saturday. It was a lot less minutes watched on the 17th. We need to go back and figure out what we talked about on the 17th, because there's less people hanging out and watching. The 14th. What did we do on Wednesday the 14th? Oh, well, yeah, that was on Twitch. Okay, so that was just us doing the pre-recorded interview for radio that they rebroadcast. Okay. That was an unplanned, at least unplanned for live streaming at least. That wasn't planned. So that makes sense. A lot less people watched. Cool. We got a lot of follows on the 3rd, or sorry, not a lot. We got follows on the 3rd and follows on the 17th. So the 3rd was a strategy / field operations meeting. And then the other one was the 17th, which, again, same thing. So we're actually getting, if we care on Twitch to get followers, the thing that's happening is the meetings like today are the ones where that's happening. So we'll take a look at that and see if I don't know that we necessarily want to build a following on Twitch. This isn't a long-term, like monetized campaign situation, so I'm not worried about building a following there. You are welcome to watch, and that's why we stream to you, but we're not necessarily trying to build up a following there. Let's see. So if we go to Facebook, biggest post was the Castillo Vaughn post. I updated it so it has a new description, but it's the same post that we've been talking about already. OJ's is high, and then looks like field operations had some good engagement as well. We're still hitting our target demographic. We've enhanced or increased the 55 to 64 range, so if you guys are hanging out and watching, appreciate it. We are here to help everybody for sure. The target demographic is our younger crowd though. Cities, Huntsville, Huntsville, Mobile, Birmingham, they're both about even. Then we drop down to Tuscaloosa and Daphne, Madison, Fairhope, Bay Minette, Montgomery. Yeah, slowly tearing off, but Huntsville's definitely our highest. Huntsville, appreciate all of your support. If you want to help that with monetary and start contributing some, that would be great. We would love to come back and visit again. It's been too long. For stories, I don't see any interaction on these, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. We have to look at it. It could just be no interaction, so we'll have to take a look at those. Let's see. We definitely got a big peak on the 22nd for all interactions, and then again on the 11th. I don't know what we posted on either of those. So 22nd and 11th. Let's see. 22nd was the Castillo Vaughn, and the 11th was OJ French. So that's those. Okay, it's the same data from down below. Perfect. And the page reach spiked, and that has me interested. It's Castillo Vaughn again. Okay, so that post with Castillo boosted our reach, which for anybody who isn't familiar, that's just how far we're reaching new people, not necessarily our existing following base. Jump over to Instagram.
Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
Sorry, just real quick, just because I'm not as familiar with it. The scenario OJ in Bay Minette that's being handled poorly. Can you give us just a few of how it's being handled poorly?
Yeah, a quick rundown. I mean, there is a video by the Bay Minette Justice League who gave a quick rundown, but basically it started with a regular traffic citation stop, right? So there was a brake light that was either malfunctioning or broken. I don't have those details, and
it doesn't matter.
Based on the interaction, I'm not sure I would trust what was written in the report in the first place. So, but we have a malfunctioning taillight in some manner, which ended up in a traffic stop, which then somehow turned into OJ exiting the vehicle, which then turned into an interaction with a taser. OJ ended up with the taser at some point, which then ended up with a firearm, which then ended up with him being unalived. And we have body cams. Our sheriffs. I think the sheriff spent $600,000 recently on new body cams, and the footage is not being released. And that's kind of one of the big sticking points and frustration points for the community, is saying, hey, like if it is what you say it is, just release the footage, because you should have it. We paid for cameras, like you should be using them. Let's see the footage, right? That's the overall deal. And the bigger frustration point that I've gathered for that community, at least, is the police have previously said, like, hey, we're a part of your community, because it's not that they're outside officers coming in like a lot of people talk about and complain about, like an officer from out of town, like, drives over and does it. Supposedly they are community members, but as soon as this happened, they stopped. The friendliness stopped, right? It turned into a, like, us and them, like, we're gonna stop talking, and it started building up tension. Not that that's unexpected, but the community is pointing out, like, hey, you said you're some of us. Well, like, this affects us, so let's deal with this as a community. And it doesn't. They don't feel like it's being handled that way. So I hope that was a good
it a deputy
overview.
Or Bay Minette PD?
I don't have. I don't know. I would look up the Bay Minette Justice League and reach out to them to see what kind of details they have. I believe it was the Bay Minette Police. I mentioned the sheriffs because that's what was mentioned in one of the city council meetings that I watched, where some of the community was actually complaining about what happened, and they mentioned the sheriff spending a bunch of money on cameras. So I don't know if the sheriffs paid for the cameras to then be used for all of the local PD. I'm not sure of the breakdown on that currently. And then last is website, so we'll go over that real quick and just look at details. Let's see, big spikes again, 18th, so it's right after the 17th. That makes sense because that was OJ's post. 22nd, shortly after, we saw another jump. Looks like it might just be regular weekend traffic though. Throughout the whole month, though, it looks like our highest day for people to visit is Monday. So maybe after the weekend, when they've been looking at stuff and checking out news and everything else, they end up on the website on Monday, and that slowly tapers down throughout the week, with the exception of Sunday. There's an invert on Sunday and Saturday, and Wednesday and Thursday. But it's an interesting. I wouldn't expect Mondays. That's interesting. Overall engagement, homepage is the highest. Right behind is Connect, which I'm glad to see the homepage actually has a higher engagement rate than the Connect page. That's good. That means people that aren't intending to land on the website are engaging and interacting with it. Whereas on the Connect page, like, they're being sent there intentionally from social media, so they should be interacting at that point. They clicked through to get to that page for a reason. And then there's a sharp drop off once we get to something like events and meetings, live, donate, meet, and then a duplicate of the homepage, because that's how data works sometimes. So I'd really like to see that donate page get more interaction and more engagement. I would love to see that go up. So we're going to be working on that on Tuesday though. So Cool. So that's all that. I'll stop sharing that guy here, and then we will jump back over and talk direct. Is there anything that's come up inside the chat, Taylor?
Nope. The only thing was that I couldn't clarify was that one because I wasn't sure.
OJ situation. Yep. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of stories are reposting other accounts, so they repost us in return, broaden audience. It won't be much interaction. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just following up with Amanda's comments. And there's a petition to the city for them to release information through Baymanet Justice League that Amanda's going to post after the live. So go check the campaign page, and we should have a post on that for updates on OJ, at least where we're at right now in regards to the Justice League and what they're wanting. Thank you, Amanda. Cool. So this next month, I mean, we're in the last month, effectively, right? The election's on the 8th. My camera's wigging out on my end. Are you guys seeing that also? Like it is jumping? Is that you guys? Do you see
I'm
it,
not
Taylor?
seeing anything.
Okay, it's just on me. That's fine. Then I'll keep going. So this is the last month. Like we are down to, it's the final countdown, if you will. We have very little time left. We have all of October and then the 7 days before the election in November, and we're close. So we are currently trying to plan some events throughout the state for the last leg of this campaign. Part of that is funds. Like we can't travel without funding to travel, so you're going to hear me mentioning money a lot more. Not a huge fan of having to do it, but the casual ask has not been working well. So if we want to visit the rest of the city, we need money to do it. So I'm going to keep asking, and it's going to be a little bit more straightforward on the ask, and we will go from there. And a big thing that we're doing on Tuesday of this week, so October 4th, depending on when you're watching this, I don't want you to think it's the week after or some other week. October 4th, we're doing a fundraising event through TikTok. I'm planning on streaming on other platforms as well, but I will be focused on TikTok. The rest of the team will probably be paying attention on other platforms, but my focus will be on that. And it is primarily a fundraising event. We're going to be having some fun. We're going to be doing a few things. Taylor, do you want to talk about the various topics and/or colloquially they're called gimmicks? I don't like using that word when we're talking about the campaign, but it's it's kind of the things that we're going to do to get some attention, make it a fun event, so it's not just hanging out and me just asking for money the whole time. So Taylor, do you want to do that?
It's just going to be
get some water.
It's just going to be 4 hours of staring at Jared's face. No, so we've got, I'm going to do some Alabama trivia, some fun things about Alabama, so that we're not just shitting on Alabama for 4 hours. There are things that we need to fix, of course, but, we all live here and we want to make the best of it. And then we're going to do an AMA. So that's Ask Me Anything if you're not familiar. So that's going to be a time for, any kind of policy questions that you haven't heard Jared talk about, anything like that, just you can ask him during the AMA. And then we're going to have some fun, like, this or that kind of things where it's, Jared, do you prefer chocolate or vanilla, the beach or the mountains, stuff like that, to kind of, just be fun. So you're not just sitting there staring at him.
Yeah.
We'll play the jingle for his name a couple of times, so you get to hear Amanda's lovely singing voice, so you can remember how to spell his name. So, any little.
I need you after this, after our meeting today, remind me to reach out to an account that knows a lot about the random stuff about Alabama. Remind me about that, because we may be able to partner with them.
Okay.
Cool. If anybody has seen the videos, I don't know if they made it to other social media platforms, but the ones that I duetted a creator who was talking about mispronouncing Alabama names on purpose. Their entire account is a bunch of stuff about Alabama, so I'll reach out and see if we can partner with them for the event. Cool. All right. Let's see. So we've got that. We have. Let me pull up the calendar real quick. And we'll see what else is happening. I know tonight is the Loda Beer Fest in Mobile. I'm going to double check that I can still get tickets for that and see if I can attend that one. If anybody's in Mobile, I'm going to try and attend that. I actually have an interview. It's not public. That's going to go out on their show later, but with the Valley Labor Report out of the Birmingham Huntsville area, they're going to interview me at 2:30 today, I believe. I think I have to be there at 2:15, just a little ahead of time. But we're going to do a virtual meeting or a virtual interview. Excited about that one. I've been trying to chat with them one-on-one since this campaign started. Basically, when I found out that the Warrior Met coal miners have been on strike, as soon as I found that out, I started trying to reach out to organizations and groups that were putting their efforts towards bringing awareness for them. Taylor, go ahead.
I actually haven't heard you speak about this one. What are your someone asked about your opinions on the COVID relief funds, etc. And I was like, well, that's why he ran. But he asked, or they asked, including the student loan forgiveness program. I don't think I've heard you speak about that.
No, I mean,
but I mean, it's federal, so.
Yeah, that's a federal policy, but it could impact us. So there are states that are, and I haven't found a direct answer on ours, and that's why I haven't really mentioned it, but there are states who aren't giving you an exemption for that loan forgiveness. So there are ways that if you get forgiven a loan, it gets counted as income. So if you get relieved of $20,000 of student debt, that can be counted as $20,000 of income. So you end up in a different tax bracket potentially. And I'm not a fan of that.
Oh no.
You're not getting money. You're just not paying interest. Those are different things. And I haven't found a straight answer on whether or not Alabama handles it that way or not. So huge fan of the student loan forgiveness because they're just forgiving interest. Like I need you. If you're frustrated with that situation, I would like to talk to you because I know a little bit more, but go look at what's actually being forgiven. It's not the actual principal of the loan. It is just the interest that they can never pay back based on the way things have been heading. So huge fan of the loan forgiveness. I wish he would have, and we were talking about Biden earlier, wish he would have stuck with what he said he was going to do instead of, wait a year and a half and then do partial. But that's something I can't control. So anywho, yeah, that's where we're at. Nathan, I saw your comment about stickers. When I use them, I seem to get less views, and it's frustrating. I have stickers for the campaign, but every time I use them, I don't get as much views, which defeats the purpose of using the sticker. So, yeah. Charles, I'm not sure what you mean by that wasn't what was said. So if you want to clarify a little bit, I'll try to address it. Otherwise, we're gonna end a little bit early, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock for field operations. We're going to talk about canvassing because it is, it's final hour. We got stuff we need to do, and we need people to do it. So if you want to help with the campaign, and if you're in Alabama, I really want your help. If you're not in Alabama, we can have some ways to help. They will be virtual, but we'd love your help in the last final stretch as well. So Taylor, Anita, or anybody else, let me check the social streams. If you got anything else, let's bring it up in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, we're going to end it, and we'll be back at 10 o'clock. So Amanda said for the beer fest, I think you just need a ticket to get a cup and map. You can still go down and hang just like it's art walk. So just going earlier, everyone be too drunk to remember they even talked to you. That's what the pens are for. We're just going to put it in a shirt pocket or slip it into their hand and just remember, keep this, put it somewhere special. But yeah, it's a good point. I think it starts at 6. If I'm recalling.
Try to talk to people. Well, I meant interview people.
Yeah.
That'll work.
It's
drunk people.
Well, so I don't. I want to make sure consent is actually consent.
Oh yeah, Jared. I know. Yeah, that's a good ass point.
If it were entertainment, it might be a different question. Where hey, you were drunk in public. That was a bad idea. I want people's honest answers, and I want them to know that I will be rebroadcasting those clips. So I don't want to be interviewing drunk people. That sounds like a not good plan.
That's fair. Yeah. Fair. Forget I said that. Yeah. Everybody.
It's public record at this point. Sorry.
Damn.
These don't get deleted. I don't delete them. I'll say that. Platforms might, but I don't. So, all right, cool. Well, I think that's it. That'll work. And if you're in Mobile or the Mobile area, and you're going to be at Art Walk, if you're going to be at Loda Beer Fest, send a message to the campaign or my campaign profile, and let me know. I will do my best to say hey. And if you see me, stop me and say hey. Like I want to meet people. It's kind of the whole point to go out in public. So we will see you again in about 20 minutes at 10 o'clock for field operations. Again, if you're in the Alabama area, we want your help. Come volunteer or sign up to do canvassing. Both of those are in the link in my bio, as well as a way to donate. So if you really want to contribute and want to help us, use just a straight donation. If you want to buy merch, you can. That takes some time to get into the campaign. You can buy it, but it takes a month essentially for that funding to come to us based on the way Threadless works. So it is not the quickest way to get us funding, nor is it the most margin. There's not a whole lot of money coming in from the merch. It's mostly about raising awareness. But if you're trying to help us financially, donations straight through donor box is your best bet. So, all right, y'all have a good rest of the morning,